Otis and Asuka win the Money in the Bank briefcases. Otis's cash-in plans might have already been leaked. And oh my god, King Corbin just killed both Aleister Black and Rey Mysterio. I've been meaning to talk to you about that, Baron. You should find yourself a safe house or a relative close by. Lay low for a while, because you're probably wanted for murder. This is the WWE Money in the Bank 2020 Boy That Escalated Quickly review. In about 10 minutes. After a video package that showed the various levels in the WWE headquarters building, like Floor 9, Ultimate Chaos, Floor 22, Unpredictable Opponents, and Floor 31, Undertaker's personal sauna room, the main show got underway live from the Performance Center, with New Day defending their Smackdown Tag Team Championships against Lucha House Party, Miz and Morrison, and the name's on the tip of my tongue. They called up from NXT after WrestleMania, and they replaced the Usos because of Jimmy's injury. Something like Misremembered Offspring. It'll come to me. The match kicked off Lucha and then quickly leveled up to even more Lucha, with Morrison hitting a Spanish fly off the top rope to the outside. But every time those high-flying baby faces and one high-flying heel would get in an aerial rhythm, damn it, I'm drawing a blank, descendants of something, a Miz would slow things down and ground them to the mat. Jackson Riker was sent to the back for interfering, leading directly to the finish, where the match's most impressive standout, Grand Metalik, was pinned by Big E to retain. Caruso alert! Drew McIntyre wished all the mothers out there a happy Mother's Day. Aww. Seth Rollins, meanwhile, promised he'll unburden Drew from the belt as WWE needs him as its messiah. Hey, he didn't wish my mum a happy Mother's Day. Heel. Despite announcing his in-ring retirement several times over the last few months, MVP then came out for a match against R-Truth, which was only announced hours before the show, which wasn't even the actual match, because Bobby Lashley came out to fight Truth instead. Truth accidentally slapped Lashley, so Bobby speared him into the center of the earth to win his latest squash match. This felt like it was missing a 24/7 title, which Truth acknowledged later on, resolving to win back his 24/7 title from Tom Brady, but actually the Gronk football joke in a backstage segment, which likely means the comedy belt that's past its funny sell-by date last year is going back to square one. In the biggest debut of the year so far, though, Tom Phillips then spoke, the virus who should not be named aloud, saying COVID-19, while introducing a video package supporting the Real Heroes project, raising money for healthcare and essential workers. This is the first time WWE has actually acknowledged the global pandemic we're living through right now. The SmackDown Women's Championship match next showed that there is, in fact, someone meaner than Tamina. It's Bayley, who aggressively worked over Tamina's knee around the ring post and then awesomely countered a super kick into a knee bar, all with Sasha Banks cheering on her role model best friend forever at ringside. Tamina's selling was pretty effective, and she even briefly got on top when using her secret power, being slightly bigger than Bayley, meaning she couldn't be lifted up. But just when Tamina almost had the match won, Banks got in the ring to distract her, and Bayley snuck a roll-up to retain. This is just a smaller chapter in the longer game of a Banks versus Bayley split, and I'm optimistic WWE will finally tell their breakup story properly after repeatedly botching it the last 2 years. But unfortunately, this brief Tamina interlude was quite a boring, uneventful The Forgotten Sons! They're called the Forgotten Sons! Thanks for your support on Patreon, Luke's favourite fan, the one, the only, the awesome Bubba. Braun Strowman then defended his Blue Universal Championship against the Mr. Rogers version of Bray Wyatt. Wyatt, as always, was utterly captivating, smiling at Braun and joking with the commentators in a very unnerving cheeriness. He's created such a unique character, in addition to the Fiend, that his ring presence works just as well with no fans. Maybe even better. But because Bray doesn't have the same stats as his Fiend alter ego, he needed to exploit Strowman's ultimate weakness. this. Move out the way last minute so Braun runs into a large object. Strowman kicked out of a Sister Abigail though, causing Wyatt to unravel into the darker aspects of his character. He even started yelling at Braun, blaming Strowman for making him do this. The drama took a neat twist near the end when Braun put on the black sheep mask and ripped off his vest, seemingly rejoining the Wyatt family. Bray was overjoyed and they embraced as the puppets cheered on from ringside, "You did it, Bray!" But then Strowman took off the mask, stomped it into the ground, and retained with a running power slam. I thought this was terrific storytelling, with the match having more in common with the final fight scene from a movie, complete with dialogue and acting, in addition to the wrestling physicality, and Wyatt losing is fine, as it sets up a Fiend rematch later down the line. After a brief Smackdown hacker tease where we didn't get any new information, Drew McIntyre defended his WWE Championship against Seth Rollins in my favourite WWE feud at the moment. McIntyre started off strong, repeatedly outsmarting Rollins early on, but Seth chopped him down to size by targeting his knee and then repeatedly driving his own into Drew's face. In a rather stupid strategic error though, Seth gave McIntyre ample time to recover after each one by standing in the ring and letting the referee count, despite him not being able to win the belt that way. And because of that hubris, his third knee was reversed into a sick belly-to-belly suplex onto the announcer's table. Continuing Seth's folly, he then brought a chair into the ring before realizing that too would stop him winning the belt, and that lapse of judgment allowed Drew to recover, kick out of a stomp, and win with a claymore. I get that heels need to heal, but I think teasing the chair and letting the referee count were missteps for Seth's character. In an attempt to protect him in defeat, I think WWE got distracted from the Messiah gimmick focused on his destiny, rather than losing through arrogance. Drew's portrayal, however, was perfect. Not just getting over his brutish physicality, but his smarts too. And in an ingenious touch, he went back to the ring and shook Seth's hand afterwards. No heel turn, no extra beatdown, just sincerity. Which was followed up by the perfect tonal gear change with one of the craziest matches WWE have ever produced. In the latest entry in the WWE Expanded Universe, this year's Money in the Bank match saw wrestlers fight their way up WWE headquarters to conclude in a climb the corporate ladder match on the roof of the building to unhook the briefcase. Ingeniously, WWE had the men's and women's matches take place at the same time, with the men starting in a gym and the women beginning in the lobby, allowing the action to cross-cut between two distinct action scenes from the get-go, avoiding the lengthy grunting and transition spots that plagued Randy Orton vs Edge at WrestleMania. It's a classic movie trick, first perfected in Star Wars, where George Lucas would switch between several different action set pieces to ramp up the dramatic tension overall. It created a pace that never let up, cutting from Asuka diving off a balcony to begin the women's match, to Otis trapping AJ Styles under a barbell while yelling sets and reps, but it actually sounded like he was shouting sex and reps. Calm down the horniness, Otis. There were nostalgia cameos with Brother Love in a toilet and John Laurinaitis on a mobility scooter, a character I have an inexplicable amount of affection for, and Paul Heyman enjoying all of catering to himself before a fun food fight erupted between both the men and women around him. The only cameo that didn't work, in the most awkward part of the whole match, was Stephanie McMahon telling Dana Brooke she'd unhooked the wrong briefcase as it was just a prop in a WWE boardroom. The fake case itself made Brooke look lame, because surely she knows it's on top of the building, and the shot of Stephanie was noticeably filmed from a completely different place, likely at home, on a phone. That's great she's adhering to social distancing guidelines, but if it's going to look that rubbish, just cut it out. My favourite part, besides AJ just yelling for Ray around various corridors though, was him and Daniel Bryan brawling into Vince McMahon's office, where Brody Lee, Mr. McMahon himself, was sitting at his desk. The two carefully tidied the office and backed out, called each other cowards, and then started fighting again. The match did fall apart a bit in its final level, the Roof Zone, where Baron Corbin oddly tried to stop Asuka, not just another heel, but someone technically in a totally different match, match from getting the briefcase. Thankfully though, Asuka fought him off to win the women's Money in the Bank, which is a great choice and really adds drama to Raw's women's division. In some structural awkwardness though, the commentators started announcing for Asuka's win after being blissfully not there for the rest of the match, showing replays like a normal WWE production, and then all the women disappeared. Not content with just jumping it, WWE also wanted to throw the shark off a building, where Corbin threw both Ray and Black over the side with no spectacular reveal shot to make it worth it. And getting his receipt for breaking a mirror at the start of the match, nice foreshadowing, Corbin was attacked by Elias, meaning the briefcase slipped out of both his and AJ's hands and into your men's Money in the Bank 2020 winner, Otis. And possibly leaking WWE's plans for him, Otis told Digital Spy at the weekend, "If I get the briefcase, we're challenging for the tag team titles," while reaffirming he is very much still in heavy machinery with Tucker. How do you think Otis should cash in his Money in the Bank briefcase? Let me know in the comments down below, because I'll be replying to people from out of quarantine. Using it on the tag team titles could elevate the already very good Smackdown division and gets around the awkwardness of it being way too early for Otis in the main event. And also click the eye above my head to give your rating for Money in the Bank, a show that I actually rather loved. Yeah, it was weird. Yeah, and the end of the ladder match didn't make much sense and was visually discombobulated. But I am so into Drew McIntyre. I love Bray Wyatt. The WWE HQ match was deliriously fun, and it was only 2 hours 20 minutes long. This year's Money in the Bank is a great per-view. Free wrestling stuff alert! Thanks to the wonderful people at WrestleCrate, if you go to wrestlecrate.co.uk and use the promo code WrestleTalk, you'll get 3 photograph portraits inside your first box when you take out a subscription, including one from me and Luke. Sorry about that. WrestleCrate is a monthly mystery box full of loads of wrestling goodies, which has items from the biggest promotions in wrestling. What are the 11 worst wrestling belt designs ever? Click the video on the right for Adam Blompier's latest list, and watch us speak to the recently released Leo Rush on WrestleTalk interviews by clicking the video below that, and make WrestleTalk.com your homepage for all the latest wrestling news, like Alberto Del Rio's arrest last night. I've been Ollie Davis, and that was wrestling.